Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Royal Ascot here on the final day of the Royal Meeting. It is Saturday, the 20th of June, 2020. Gonna look at almost all the races on today's program, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kit 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and join me today for my Belmont Stakes preview. That's up live right now, so go check that out. It's an excellent card from Belmont, but the final day of Royal Ascot, you have some very good races here. I think you make some money here, and I really had, out of all the days I looked at so far, this is one of the cards I really enjoyed looking at. But we won't be looking at the second and third race, the 115 and the 150. Those are the 2-year-old races, and this Queen Mary and the Coventry. Two races I'm going to watch as a fan, but as a bettor, I just wouldn't feel confident giving out a tip in those races, so we're going to skip over them. So basically, we'll be looking at races 1 and then 4 through 8. Let's get to it right now. The first race, the 1240 from Ascot. The 1240, the first race from Ascot, it is the Silver Wokingham Handicap. It's Class 2 Handicap going for a purse $46,500, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 22 horses going to the soft, good to soft rated turf course, a distance of ground to 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs on the Ascot lawn, the turf course. 1,200 meters, 6 furlongs, and I show the diagram. Just gives me a second to look down my notes. Just bear with me. Sorry, I'm stupid. I can't do two things at the same time. My top selection here, I like the number 10 horse. The number 10, who is a plum. We'll go 10-13 in the forecast exacta. 10-13 forecast exacta. But to tell you the truth, any of these two horses can win, so we'll definitely use them in the place pod. But we'll start off with the 10 horse A plum. This 4-year-old gelding by Lupe de Vega. William Haggis trains. Tom Marquand gets them out. I backed a lot of his horses this week, so he's due for a victory. Hopefully it's today in this one, because I really like this horse. His most recent outing came the 6th June at Newmarket over the firm ground, 5 furlongs on a Class 2 handicap, and he finished 5th by 2 3/4 lengths. So that's the 4-1 favorite. He really just never got into it. He runs his better races towards the front end. That day is towards the back end, and just really never moved. Second off the break, coming here today on a little softer ground. I think he should really do well. 2 back here in Class 2 handicap at York, 6 furlongs soft ground, 12th of October, and he finished 21st by 21 lengths. It's the 7-1 favorite in that stupid horse 22 horse race. He was with them early on. He kind of completely hit the wall late. He just couldn't keep up there. But his most recent race here at Ascot wasn't half bad in the Harrogate Water Handicap Stakes on the 4th of October over the 6-furlong trip, finishing second by a neck. He stalked early on. He just missed Tinto late, but again, he ran a terrific race there. He started twice here. He ran, last time out was October, and before that he ran here on the 10th of May last year, 6 furlongs and a Class 4 handicap, where he placed by finishing second by a length there. And again, he was with him early on. He got over the ground well. It was close but no cigar here, so he likes running here. He gets soft ground, which going through his form line he really likes. That's where he got his last victory back at Leicester over the summer. At 7-1, I give him a massive shout, along with the number 13 horse here, Cosmic Law. 4-year-old gelding by No Nay Never. Richard Fahey trains. Kevin Stott gets them out. Most recently, the horse ran on the 2nd of June at Newcastle over the Tapeta. 6 furlongs in a Class 3 handicap, and he finished 9th by 18 3/4 lengths. And he didn't break well, and that basically cost him because he was never into the race and never really ran a step. Second off break, hopefully racing a little bit better and more towards the front end. I expect him to run a good race. He started here once in the past, but you have to go all the way back to a few seasons ago, 2017. But since his last race, he's been really improving a lot. He had a few starts last year in 2019. He didn't win, but he always ran these terrific places. Other than that Goodwood race to win the Stewards Cup, where he ran horribly. But his Chester race was very nicely run. Even the race after that, York, was very nicely run. At 20-1, he's a horse you definitely want to use on your place pots. But to recount my selections for today's first race, 1240 from Ascot, it is the Silver Wokingham Handicap. Let's take as a top selection the number 10 horse A Plum. Also give kudos to the 13 horse Cosmic Law. 10-13 in the 1240. So now let's get to the second race and the third race, the 115 and the 150. Two races. Those are for the 2-year-olds here. A very tough race to handicap, and like I said, for my integrity, I'm not going to give you a tip in those races. So let's get to the fourth race, 225. A very exciting race. The fourth race, the 225, it's the Group 1 Coronation Stakes. It's Group 1 race going for a purse of $332,500. Race for 3-year-old fillies here. We have 7 horses going to the round course for the first time to the round mile. The distance of ground is 1,600 meters, or 1 mile on the turf course. 1,600 meters, 1 mile here. And if you're an American saying, well, I've seen a lot of mile races this week at Ascot. No, there's 2 different courses. You have the straightaway mile course where you see those 25 horse handicaps, and then you have the round mile, which I say personally is for the better horses and those stakes quality horses. So the the good horses are going to the round mile, and I like this because it makes it a little bit more of an exciting race going around the bend. My top selection, though, I love the 6-horse Sharing. I'm a very big fan of her, and if I had her in the Breeders' Cup, I probably would have won $90,000 hitting that Fillet Pick 4, but I didn't have her there. Yeah, that one hurts still. But we'll go 6-5-4 in the Tri-Cash Trifecta. 6-5-4 Tri-Cash Trifecta. Top selection 6-horse Sharing. 3-0 filly by Spicetown. Grand Motion trains. Ocean Murphy gets the mount. Most recently, the horse ran stateside on 23rd of May at Churchill. 1 mile on very firm ground in the Tempin Stakes. She won by half length, and she had a dream trip from the outside. She left out of the gate. She stalked, slowly moved her way up. She quickened up. Probably not as good to her ability first off the break, but she still got the job done. Very good run, earning an 84 buyer. Not the best for her career, but she got the job done. And you're saying, what's a buyer? It's a speed figure. It's like, the time for speed figures that they have across the pond. But before that, she ran the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf at Santonino, 1 mile on November the 1st. A race that gives me nightmares. She won by 1.5 lengths, and again, drawn very wide. She stalked, slowly moved her way up, and she had a great turn of foot, and she got the job done at 13-1. Like I said, if I had her in my pick 4, I would have probably won $90,000, but I didn't. I had the second place finish of the day. But again, this horse ran terrifically there. And then before that, Laurel Mile 16th in the Salima. She won by 2.5 lengths, and again, a little bit of a wide post draw, sitting on the front end. She slowly quickened up, and she got the job done against a little lesser quality horses. But and then before that, Saratoga, 7 furlongs off turf on the dirt in the main special weight for 90,000. She won by 6.25 lengths, and again, she was with them early on, and she just got the nod on them. But keep in mind, Spicetown was actually for about 20 years or 15 years was the 6 furlong course record holder on the dirt at Saratoga up until this past summer when Imperial Hint broke the track record, I believe. But that's a little Saratoga history for you. But coming back to Sharing, she broke her main very nicely on dirt, but back to turf again, training well at 9-2. I give her a massive shot. Second likeliest winner here, I think, will be the 5-horse Run Wild. This German bred 3-year filly by Amaran. John Gosden trains. James Doyle gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the Pretty Polly Stakes at Newmarket over the mile and a quarter, and the horse went by 3 3/4 lengths there and had a dream trip, stalked, got the lead and just kept going. Very easy dream run. Before that, and the Montrose Stakes at Newmarket last November over the heavy ground, she finished third by 1/4 lengths there, and she slowly quickened up, but it took her a little bit of time. I think the very waterlogged ground got to her, but coming here today, off the break at 4-1, second off the break at 4-1, I'll give her a massive shot. So to recap my selection for the 225, the 4th race from Ascot's Group 1 Coronation, let's take the 6-horse Sharing, also give kudos to the 5-horse Run Wild, and we'll go 6-5-4 in the Tri-Cash Trifecta. The 3 o'clock, the 5th race from Ascot's the Group 1 St. James Palace. It's a Group 1 race going for a purse $332,500. Race for 3-year-olds here. 7 horses, again, going around to the round course. A distance around of 1,600 meters or 1 mile on the round mile. 1,600 meters, 1 mile here. And my top selection here in the St. James Palace, it wouldn't surprise me if horses go to the Derby off of this race, but it's a very good prep race for, say, the Prés Prats at Deauville in a few weeks, or the Sussex, which normally is a prep race for. But it wouldn't surprise me maybe you see a Derby runner in this one. Will we see the Derby winner in it? More to be revealed. But the top selection here, I love the 2-horse Palace Pier. We'll go 2-3-1 in the Tri-Cash Trifecta. 2-3-1 Tri-Cash Trifecta. Top selection, my best bet of the day, will be the 2-horse Palace Pier. 3-year-old colt by Kingman. John Gosden trains. Frankie Dettori gets the mount. Gosden and Dettori were supposed to win this race last year with Too Darn Hot, but saw at the ground. Too Darn Hot just couldn't get into it. But I think they'll turn the tables today. Most recently, the Palace Pier ran on the 6th of June at Newcastle, 1 mile and a Class 2 handicap, and he won by 3 1/4 lengths there, and he slowly moved his way up from mid-pack, quickened up easily, didn't even get to the bottom of the horse first off the break. That was a very impressive run. Coming here, drawn a little bit wide, but coming to a turf course, the softest turf course he's ever going to see, I'm going to give him a massive shot. The ability is there, if you go by his races. Also, the pedigree says he should love the smile. 2 back, he ran novice at Sandown, 7 furlongs, September the 18th. He won by 4.5 lengths and a 10 cents to the dollar. He just slowly moved his way up, and again, won very, very easily. Good run. And then before that, 30th of August, Sandown on firm ground, 7 furlongs main race. He won by 2 3/4 lengths, and again, got a dream trip, quickened up easily on the front end, and just kept going. Had 3 very easy races. Coming to stakes quality horse for the first time shouldn't be a problem. Biggest question will be the soft ground, but I think he can handle it. 5-1. I expect him to really run a good race. I think Pinatubo will be bet into the ground here. He ran a little subpar in the Guineas off the break, like I said, I just can't take him at that very short price. I think Pals Pier might drift up in odds at 5-1. Let's take him and single him in the multi-race wagers, and he'll be my best bet of the day. So to recap my selection for the 3 o'clock, the 5th race from Ascot's Group 1 St. James Palace, let's take the 2-horse Palace Pier. We'll go 2-3-1 in the TriCast trifecta. Let's get to the co-feature 335, the 6th race. The 335, the 6th race from Ascot's the Group 1 Diamond Jubilee Stakes. It's a Group 1 race for Class 1 horses, going for a purse of $332,500, race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 10 horses heading to the turf course, a distance of ground of 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs on the turf course. 1,200 meters, 6 furlongs here in the Diamond Jubilee. My top selection here, I'm going to go with the number 10 horse here, One Master. We'll go 10-1 in the forecast exacta. 10-1 forecast exacta. Top selection 10 horse, One Master. 6-year-old mare by Fascinate Rock. William Haggis trains. James Doyle gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came 19th of October here at Ascot on very waterlogged heavy ground in the 6 furlongs in the Group 1 British Champion Sprint Stakes. Cutting back and tripped. She finished second by a length there, and she sat back early, slowly moved her way up. She quickened up nicely in the very demanding round from where she was earlier to get second. I thought it was a very good race. If it was on a little slightly faster ground, she probably would have won easily, but she really ran a good race. Before then, the Prix La Forêt at Longchamp, 7 furlongs on softish ground. She won by half length, and again, she had a dream trip. She quickened up nicely and went away with it, beating a good quality group horses home. It was good quality, but it wasn't the world's toughest foray either. And then before, the toughest foray field they've seen in years. And then before that, she ran at Deauville on very fast ground, Group 1 Prix Maurice de Guiche, where the horse finished 5th by 1.5 lengths there, and she never weakened out of it, but she never quickened up either. It was an okay race. And then back at Newmarket, 1 mile in the Falmouth, she finished second by a neck behind Vericious, and again, she just didn't break so well that day, but again, really closed up well late over the mile. She's not going to be on the front end today. She'll be probably coming from behind. I think she'll see a good pace in this one at 6-1 off of a very good place last time out. Let's take her. I also think another likely winner here will be the 1-horse Dream of Dreams. Sir Michael Stout trains a 6-year-old horse by Dream Ahead. Ryan Moore picks up the mount. This horse has run 4 times here at Ascot, and the last 2 times, last time was horrible, and the time before that was horrible also, or the fall before that. And the 2 horrible races basically him in the British Champions Sprint Stakes. The last 2 runnings where the horse finished 16th in 2019 and 13th in 2018. But ran here in the Diamond Jubilee last year and placed behind Blue Point, where the horse just couldn't get there late. Blue Point had the jump on him, winning twice during Royal Ascot last year, but this horse ran her heart out. After that, came back to a disappointing race in the July Cup and the Sprint Cup. But coming here off the break, going through the form lines, this horse really runs a lot better, early on in the season. A little softest ground should do wonders for this horse. At 7-1, another very likely winner, but I still prefer One Master beating the boys here today. But to recap my selection for the 6 to 335 from Ascot's the Group 1 Diamond Jubilee, let's take the 10-horse One Master. We'll also give kudos to the 1-horse Dream of Dreams, and we'll go 10-1 in the forecast exacta. Definitely use them in the place pod. Let's get to the 4-10, the 7th race from Ascot. The 4-10, the 7th race from Ascot's the Wokingham Handicaps, Class 2 handicap, going for a purse of $100,000, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 22 horses going down the straightaway, the distance of ground of 1,200 meters, or 6 furlongs on the turf course. 1,200 meters, 6 furlongs here in the Wokingham. My top selection here, very wide open race. I'm not going to give you a top selection, but I'll give you 2 horses that I think can win. We'll use the 8 and 13, the number 8 horse, Summer Gand, and the number 13 horse here, who is, if my form guide would ever work, the 13 horse Arcibio. But 8-13 here. We'll start off with the 8 horse, who is Summer Gand. This 6-year-old gelding by Lupa de Vega. David O'Meara trains. James Doyle gets the mount. Most recently, the horse ran the 5th of June at Newmarket, 6 furlongs firm firm ground and a Class 2 handicap, and the horse finished second by 1/4 lengths behind Tinto, who's actually running back as one today. This horse, again, sat back early, slowly moved the way up, just couldn't catch the winner, but first off the break, I thought he ran a decent race. Before that, he ran the Carnival at Meydan, 7 furlongs and a handicap, 27th of February, and the horse finished 8th by 5.5 lengths there, and he just never really quickened up. That's kind of the pattern for his races in the Middle East over the winter. He really just never getting into it, but before that, his final race of 2019 and final race in the UK before the Newmarket race, Class 2 conditions race at Wolverhampton on Boxing Day over the 6 furlong trip. He won by half length, and he was just much the best that day. He sat back early, slowly moved his way up, and he got the job done, beating for a Boxing Day flat race, beating quite a good group of horses home there. And then before that at York's on soft ground, 6 furlongs in a Coral Sprint Trophy handicap, he finished 10th by 9.25 lengths there. And again, he never weakened out of it, but he never quickened up. He could have ran a little bit better. He's run here at Ascot twice in the past, most recently on the 5th of October in the Challenge Cup Class 2 Heritage Handicap, where he finished 4th by 4 lengths, and I thought he ran decently that day towards the back, closed up a little bit. You know, I've seen a lot worse races here, but he goes up a lot on soft ground. That's where he runs his better races. It's good weight of 131 pounds. At 12-1, let's use him, along with the number 13 horse, Arcibio. Hopefully I said that right. This 5-year-old horse by Invisible Spear. David O'Mara again trains when Daniel Thudhope gets the mount. Most recently ran in the Group 3 Palace Handicap at Newmarket over the 5 furlong trip, and the horse finished 8th by 4 3/4 lengths there, and never quickened up from the back of the pack. First off the break, probably need the race. That's something that sucked about this Royal Ascot. A lot of these horses are coming second off the break, and they always need their first race, off the layoff. But hopefully next year everything goes back normal, where these horses could run a few more races before Royal Ascot. But his final start 2019 at Catterick, the horse just had a disaster trip and finished 10th by 11 1/4 lengths over the 5 furlong trip on soft ground. Just never really showed up and never had a clear run. But before that, here at Ascot in the Rouse Stakes, she finished second by 1/4 lengths there, and again really closed up well. I thought the horse was running like a winner late, but just couldn't get there. But still a 12-1 ran her art out. And then before that at Ayr in the Ayr Gold Cup, she finished 8th by 4 3/4 lengths, and again she didn't break that well, and I think that cost her. But she's run twice here at Ascot, once in July where she had a very good place, and once in the Rouse Stakes where she had a very nice place. She likes the course. She has good weight here, good post draw. 15-1, let's use her. So to recap my selection for the Wokingham, the 7th race from Ascot, the 410, let's take the number 8 horse Summer End. We'll also use the number 13 horse Arcibio, 8-13 in the 410, the 7th race from Ascot. So let's get to the meat cap from Ascot, the longest race of the festival, the 440, the 8th race from Ascot's the Queen Alexandra Stakes. It's going for a purse $46,500, race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 10 horses going the longest trip of the week, the distance of ground of 4,400 meters about, or the 2 miles and 3/4 on the turf course. 4,400 meters, 2 miles 3/4 here, and the Queen Alexandra. And it's a very long one here. Top selection, I'm going to go with the 9 horse, Who Dares to Win. We'll go 9-1 in the forecast exacta. 9-1 forecast exacta. Top selection, 9 horse, Who Dares to Win. Or, excuse me, Who Dares Wins. The State Regalia by Jeremy. Alan King trains. Tom Marquand gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came at the Cheltenham Festival on the 10th of March. 3 miles and 8th in the Ultimate Handicap. And the horse finished 13th by 43 1/4 lengths there, and just never jumped well, never quickened up, and it was just never near the front end. It wasn't the day to win. You know, before that, Kempton of the 2 miles 9/16 and novice steeplechase, and the horse went by 3/4 length, and again had a great trip, sat towards the front end, quickened up nicely, jumped well, very good run. His most recent flat race came in the Czarwich over at Newmarket over the 2 miles and 1/4, and he finished 7th by 12 lengths there. You know, never could quicken up late, but I still thought he ran a terrific, decent race. And then before then, the Prix du Cadran at Longchamp, the horse finished 4th by 7 lengths. You know, got beat by a little classier stayers, but again, I've seen worse races. And then the Marsh Cup at Newbury, 2 miles into 16th in July, the horse finished 4th by 4 3/4 lengths, and never weakened out of it, but never quickened up either. He stayed the trip well, and then before that, he won the Northumberland Plate at Newcastle over the 2 miles very nicely, and then placed in the Chester Cup before that on very, very heavy ground. But I like him over the long trip, back over the flat, off a slight break of 4-1. I think he's a very likely winner. Second likeliest winner is the 1 horse Fun Mac. Jim Crowley's on this one for Huey Morrison. Most recently, the horse ran in the Christmas Handicap at Newmarket over over the 2 miles back in November, where the horse finished fourth by 10 quarter lengths, and again, didn't weaken out of it, but didn't quicken up either. He was staying the trip well. Before, though, over the 2 miles and a quarter at Pontefract in a conditions race, he won by half length, and again, stayed the trip well with a high weight. And then at Chester in a Class 3 handicap, he ran a disgusting race on very, dry ground. He didn't break all that well, and he was always behind the A-ball most of the race. But coming back to here to Ascot, where this horse had a very good place in the Ascot Stakes last year, I'm going to give him a shot at 8-1. So to recount my selection for the 8th, the 440 from Ascot's Queen Alexandra. Let's take the 9 horse Who Dares Wins. We'll also use the 1 horse Fun Mac, 9-1 in the finale. So good luck to all. Remember to go check out my Belmont Stakes preview, and can't wait for Royal Ascot next year, and join me in a few weeks' time for my Derby preview. Good luck.